Students, in the previous video lectures, we have learned what is meant by work done and conditions for work done, conditions for zero work, what is meant by conservative and non-conservative forces, and work done by conservative force and non-conservative force. And we have seen some problems where work can be done by variable force or constant force, conservative or non-conservative force. In this video session, we will learn about different forms of energy, and especially in mechanics, we have mechanical energy. We will be learning the details of mechanical energy in this particular video session. As we already have learned, work done is equal to force into displacement. You are able to do some work if there is some displacement caused corresponding to the applied force. This can be simply written as F(S) cos theta, which is equal to work done W. Now coming to energy, it can be defined as capacity of work done. Capacity of work done is called energy. Okay. As we know, there are different forms of forces. There are different forms, like we have contact force, non-contact force, electrostatic force, gravitational force, like that, spring force. Different forces are observable. And like, for example, if there is gravitational force, if gravitational force is able to do work, gravitational force is doing some work. If gravitational force is able to displace a particle from its own position, we say that work is done by gravitational force, and this gravitational force has capacity of doing some work. Therefore, gravitational force doing some work results in gravitational potential energy. Similarly, we have mechanical force. Mechanical force is able to do some work. Mechanical force is able to do some work, like you can lift a weight, or you can walk for 1 kilometer, or a person is digging a pit. Everyone has his own ability of doing some task. Their mechanical force is doing work, results in mechanical energy. Results in mechanical energy. Similarly, we have electrostatic force. If electrostatic force is doing some work, the capacity of electrostatic force to do work results in electrostatic potential energy. Similarly, we have spring force. Spring force. If spring force is doing some work, the capacity of work done by this spring force is the capacity of work done by the spring force results in potential energy of the spring. Likewise, as we have different forms of forces, each force is able to do some work. Every force has its own ability of doing work. Corresponding to the applied force, there will be different forms of energy which can be obtained. Just like how I have given you examples, if gravitational force is doing work, that is called gravitational potential energy. If mechanical force is doing work, it is called mechanical energy. If electrostatic force is doing work, it is called electrostatic potential energy. If spring force is doing some work, then in such case, you call it as spring energy or potential energy potential energy of the spring. Like that, when some kind of force is doing work, generally we will be dealing in this chapter, we will be dealing with mechanical force. Therefore, we will be learning mostly about mechanical energy in this chapter. And mechanical energy can be categorized into two different types. They are number one, kinetic energy, and number two, potential energy. The mechanical force which you are applying on your body, if it is able to change its kinetic energy, like if it is able to produce some velocity, if it is changing the velocity of the body, then that results kinetic energy. If the mechanical force which you are applying upon a body will result change in the position of the body, gives you potential energy. So mechanical energy can be categorized into two types. One is kinetic energy and the other one is potential energy. In this chapter, we are dealing with only mechanical force. Therefore, mechanical energy we will be learning in detail in this chapter. Mechanical energy is categorized as kinetic energy and as well as potential energy. Not only mechanical energy, there are other forms of energy which may be corresponding to different forces which is acting upon an object. Therefore, you can have thermal energy, like if heat is able to do some work, that results thermal energy. Mechanical energy is other form of energy. Electrical energy, if electrostatic force is able to do some work, then that is called electrical energy. If magnetic force is able to do some work, it is called magnetic energy. And if the chemical force is able to do some work, it is called chemical energy. Similarly, elastic energy is by spring force. Nuclear energy, if the nuclear force is doing some work, it is called as nuclear energy. Likewise, gravitational energy, sound energy, and light energy. These all are different forms of energy that depends upon the nature of force which is acting on the object. And about these all energy, we will be learning in detail in that concerned chapter. About thermal energy, we will be learning in heat. About electrical energy, we will be learning in current, electricity. And about magnetic energy, we will be learning in magnetism. About chemical energy, elastic energy, like every energy is dedicated with some other chapter. So in that chapter, we will be learning about that particular energy. Here in this chapter, we will be only concerned with kinetic energy and as well as potential energy of the object. So as studied, mechanical energy can be categorized into two types. Mechanical energy is categorized as kinetic energy and as well as potential energy. First, we will be learning details about kinetic energy, and after that, we will be studying about potential energy. Now, how can you define kinetic energy? So it's very simple to understand kinetic energy. It is that moving bodies possesses kinetic energy. Moving bodies possess kinetic energy. Now, the kinetic energy is the energy that objects possess due to their motion. If an object is moving, for example, I am considering an object, a ball, which is moving with some velocity u. Initial velocity, I am considering it as u. And this body has some mass m. Because of its motion, it will have some momentum p, which is equal to mu. Corresponding to this momentum, there will be some initial kinetic energy of the particle. Kinetic energy is defined as the energy possessed by the object due to virtue of its motion. The energy possessed by the object due to virtue of its motion is called kinetic energy. So all moving objects possess kinetic energy. If velocity of the object is equal to 0, then velocity of the object is 0, then in such cases kinetic energy of the object will also be equal to 0. Every body which is in motion will definitely possess some kinetic energy. Now let us see a body is initially moving with some velocity u. Now I am applying some force upon this object. I am applying some force on this object. As we have learned in Newton laws, whenever you are applying force upon the object, definitely the object will gain some velocity and it will be having some displacement. This displacement I am considering it as S. And after traveling some displacement, yes, its velocity have changed to V, and this has taken in some time t. And mass of the object will remain same. This is kinetic energy final. So after some instant of time, the body have gained some velocity V. Therefore, when you are applying a force on an object, its velocity is undergoing change. Initial velocity U has been now converted to V. So as we know, kinetic energy is equal to half m u square. Initial kinetic energy of the object is half m u square. Final kinetic energy of the object is half m v square. I can now define change in kinetic energy, which is equal to final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. This is half m v square minus half m u square. Take this as equation number 1. That is change in kinetic energy of the object. Now, this is part 1. Now let us learn what is amount of work done here. Work done is equal to force into displacement. And what is the force acting here? Like some kind of force is acting over here, which results in some acceleration. Therefore, force can be written as mass into acceleration A into some displacement S. And we know acceleration A is equal to V square minus U square divided by 2S. This is from basic equation of kinematics. I'll replace that A with V square minus U square by 2S in this equation. So work done will be written as M into V square minus U square divided by 2S into S. This S and S gets cancelled. Finally, you can write it as half M V square minus half M U square, which is equal to delta K. This is very important equation which gives you the relation between work done and as well as kinetic energy. Now understand the concept clearly. Because you are applying force upon the object is changing its velocity, resulting in some acceleration. That means you are doing some work upon this object, and that work done is stored in the form of kinetic energy of the object. The force which you are applying on the object, because of that there is some displacement observed. That means you are doing some work upon this object, and that work done is gained. How much amount of work you are doing, that work done is equal to change in kinetic energy of the object. Just like how we have already learned in the previous chapter, like in Newton laws, we have learned force. Because of the applied force, there is change in the momentum. F is equal to delta P. Whatever the force which you are applying upon the object will result change in the momentum. Similarly, here in this part, we can learn that the amount of work done will be resulting in change in kinetic energy. Therefore, I can now write W is equal to delta K, and this is simply termed as work energy theorem. Work energy theorem. Clear? So work energy theorem states that if you are doing some work upon an object, there will be some energy gained or there will be some energy lost in that particular object. In this example, as kinetic energy is gained, and that kinetic energy is gained because you are applying some force upon the object, there is some work done. So work done on the object is stored in the form of kinetic energy of this body. That is called work energy theorem. Very important theorem which is helpful in solving problems. Whatever the amount of work you are doing on an object, that will be converting kinetic energy. It is converted into kinetic energy. And the definition of kinetic energy is half mv square, which is the energy possessed by the body due to virtue of its motion. And unit of kinetic energy is joule in SI system and erg in CGS system. Of course, there are some other units also. We will be learning those units in later in this part. Like we have electron volt, which is the unit of energy. Similarly, we have one more unit, kilowatt hour. Kilowatt, kWh, kilowatt hour, which is also unit of energy. So there are different unit for energy based upon the chapter which you are learning. In that we will be using that particular unit for energy. So as we are dealing with mechanics, in mechanics we will be learning unit, we will be using unit joule in SI system and erg in CGS system. Yeah, consider one more example where we will be defining one more equation for kinetic energy. Let this object be having some mass m. It is moving with some initial velocity u, and finally it has some velocity v. When you are applying force upon this object, definitely there will be some change in velocity corresponding to change in kinetic energy. Change in kinetic energy is equal to final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, that is half m into v square minus u square. This is what we have already discussed. Now, as we know, equation for kinetic energy is half m u square. Simply I'll multiply numerator and denominator with m. If I multiply numerator and denominator with m, I can write it as 1 by 2m into m square u square. This is equal to p initial whole square divided by 2m, since initial momentum is equal to mass into initial velocity. Likewise, I can write final kinetic energy as half m v square. Multiply numerator and denominator with m. This gives you p f square divided by 2m. Therefore, final kinetic energy is pf square divided by 2m. I can now simply write change in kinetic energy delta k is equal to final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, that is 1 by 2m into p final whole square minus p initial whole square. This is how you can find out change in kinetic energy if there is change in momentum. And final momentum pf will be equal to mass into final velocity. Initial momentum pi is equal to mass into initial velocity. Suppose if u is equal to 0, that means body starts with rest. If body starts with rest, then kinetic energy change delta k is equal to p final whole square divided by 2m, because initial velocity is 0. As initial velocity is 0, initial momentum is also equal to 0. Therefore, kinetic energy gained is equal to pf square divided by 2m. This can give you another equation for work energy theorem, that is W is equal to 1 by 2m into pf square minus pi square. Already we have learnt work energy theorem. It states that work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. Change in kinetic energy, you can represent it in terms of momentum also. As you are representing change in momentum here, you can simply write work done is equal to 1 by 2m into pf square divided by pi square. This is in terms of momentum. So work done can also be written as 1 by 2 m into v square minus u square. This is in terms of velocity. This is in terms of momentum. This is work energy theorem in terms of momentum. This is work energy theorem in terms of momentum. This is work energy theorem in terms of velocity. In both the cases, however, we are calculating that by change in kinetic energy only. Remember, either velocity change or momentum change, definitely it will be resulting change in kinetic energy. So that is what work energy theorem states, when the amount of work done will be stored in the form of kinetic energy of the moving object. As we have already discussed, energy in mechanics is categorized as kinetic energy and as well as potential energy. We have already discussed about kinetic energy. Now let us learn about potential energy. What is meant by potential energy? In mechanics, we will be doing work on the surface of the earth. Therefore, we are always surrounded with gravitational potential field. That's the reason why the potential energy by default, which we are habituated to call, is simply gravitational potential energy, because you are doing work under the presence of gravitational force in mechanics. That is the reason why we will be strictly calling it as gravitational potential energy. Roughly, you can call it as potential energy gained by the object. Now let us learn how a body is able to gain potential energy. Let me consider this is a ground. This is ground, and there is an object placed initially at this position, and from here it is being displaced to this new position, and this I am calling it as height h1, and this I am calling it as height h2. Now mass of this object, I am considering it as m. You are now applying force upon this object and you are lifting it in upward direction. So initially the body is at height h1. You are lifting this object by applying some force in upward direction. Upward, you are applying some force, and downward there is a gravitational force which is acting in downward direction. And this gravitational force is simply written as mg, which is acting in downward direction, and this is applied force. Okay. Now there is some work done by gravitational force here. Let us calculate work done by gravitational force. Work done by gravitational force. Work done by gravitational force is equal to gravitational force W is equal to F dot S. This is the basic formula which we have. But here F and S both are opposite to each other. Therefore, here you will be writing it as cos 180, which is -1, since F bar and S bar are opposite to each other. S bar is in upward direction. This is the net displacement which is caused because of the applied force. What is the net displacement? This is net displacement. And net displacement, it is, you can represent it with S, displacement of the body is equal to height h, which is equal to h2 minus h1. I'm just representing displacement of the object as h, which is equal to h2 minus h1. And net work done W is equal to, work done is equal to Fg into S. What is Fg? Gravitational force, which is m into g. And what is S here? Displacement is h. Or you can simply write it as W is equal to mg into h2 minus h1. But what is h? H is simply written as h2 minus h1. That's the reason why I'm replacing h with h2 minus h1. This can be written as mgh2 minus mgh1. And this mgh2 and mgh1 is simply called potential energy at the state of height h1 and potential energy at the state of height h2. Therefore, work done is equal to final potential energy minus initial potential energy. That is how you can simply change potential energy, the state of the object, by applying some force. By applying some force, you can bring displacement of the object either horizontally or vertically. In this case, we are displacing the object vertically upward, which results in change in the position of the object. So if there is some change in the position of the object, we say that body is gaining some potential energy. And that potential energy gained is due to applied force, and that applied force is doing some work. Hence, you can call work energy theorem as work done is equal to change in potential energy. Therefore, potential energy can be simply defined as the gravitational potential energy is the energy stored in an object due to its position above the Earth's surface. And potential energy is simply defined as mgh, where m is mass, g is gravitational field, acceleration due to gravity, h is height, and ep is called gravitational potential energy. So the energy possessed by the body by virtue of its position is defined as potential energy. Potential energy can be changed due to applied force, and that applied force can be any force. Either it can be spring force, electrostatic force, magnetic force, or gravitational force, or nuclear force. Different forms of force will result in different forms of potential energy. Nuclear force, if I am talking about, nuclear force doing work will result nuclear potential energy. Similarly, gravitational force change results in gravitational potential energy. Magnetic force applied on the object to cause some displacement results magnetic potential energy. Electrostatic force applied on the object will result electrostatic potential energy. Similarly, spring force applied on the object will result spring potential energy gained in the spring. That is what simply called as it is called elastic energy. Like that, different forms of force will produce change in the state of the object. Concerned with the virtue of the position of the object, you can define potential energy as the virtue of position of the object, which is gravitational potential energy, because here gravitational force is doing some work. And this is work energy theorem concerned with gravitational potential energy. Likewise, work energy theorem is applicable in every chapter. Here gravitational potential energy is changed, therefore work done is equal to change in gravitational potential energy. Suppose if we are dealing with nuclear force, work done is equal to change in nuclear potential energy. Students, we already have discussed total energy in mechanics is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. If kinetic energy is equal to 0, total energy will be equal to potential energy. If potential energy is equal to 0, total energy is equal to kinetic energy, vice versa. But total energy, however, should be equal to kinetic energy and potential energy. And there will be some change in kinetic energy, there will be some change in potential energy. In such case, you can write total energy is equal to change in kinetic energy plus change in potential energy. But however, total energy will be remained constant. Here there will be decreased and here there will be increased. Therefore, if delta K is negative, delta P is positive. If delta K is positive, delta P is negative, vice versa, resulting in total energy constant. Total energy of the system will be remained constant, but there will be individual change in kinetic energy or individual change in potential energy. So there may be change in kinetic energy or potential energy or both individually. but total mechanical energy of the system will be constant. This results law of conservation of energy. This results law of conservation of energy, very, very important concept, law of conservation of energy. So what does law of conservation of energy states? Law of conservation of energy states that total energy of the system is equal to constant. That means dE divided by dt is equal to 0. There is no change in energy, total energy of the system. There is no change in total energy of the system, which is defined as law of conservation of energy. This gives you E is equal to constant. Very, very important concept. Law of conservation of energy. Total energy of the system should remain constant. Now let us take one simple example how kinetic energy decreases and potential energy increases, vice versa, resulting in total mechanical energy constant. Now in this case one, a person is catching an object. This is a ball. Person is catching a ball as it is at some height h. This is at some height h. I can write total energy is equal to potential energy. Since V is equal to 0, kinetic energy is equal to 0. As a person is catching the ball, ball is in the rest position, velocity is 0, therefore kinetic energy will be equal to 0. It possesses only potential energy, and that potential energy is equal to total energy, which is mgh, where h is height from the ground. Now you are leaving this object. If you leave this object, you need not throw it, you just leave the object. If you leave the object, it falls down. Therefore, initially, even though its velocity is equal to 0, because gravitational force is acting in downward direction, the body is continuously gaining the velocity, which results in some acceleration g, which is v minus u divided by t. Finally, when the object comes here, velocity is not equal to 0, but h is equal to 0. When the ball comes over to this position, h is equal to 0, therefore potential energy is equal to 0. Hence you can write total energy is equal to kinetic energy. Right? Initially, the body is possessing only potential energy. And finally, when you are leaving this object, when the body comes to the ground, the body is gaining kinetic energy. Potential energy is equal to 0. If I consider initially, potential energy is equal to some 10 joule. Therefore, total energy will be equal to 10 joule. And this is completely equal to potential energy. When you are leaving the object, what is happening here? Velocity is increasing, therefore kinetic energy goes on increases. Finally, when the body reaches the ground, kinetic energy will become 10 joule, potential energy will become 0. Therefore, total energy will be equal to kinetic energy. What is initial energy? Initial total energy. Total energy initial is equal to 10 joule. Similarly, total energy final is also equal to 10 joule. But the form of energy which is initial and final is not same. The form of energy initially is potential energy, that is equal to total energy. But when the body is left to the ground, the final energy, it is only kinetic energy, where potential energy is tending to become 0. Therefore, you can write kinetic energy can be converted into potential energy. Potential energy can be converted into kinetic energy, vice versa. But overall, total energy will remain constant. So therefore, total energy is equal to change in kinetic energy of the body plus change in potential energy of the body. Here, potential energy is decreasing, kinetic energy is increasing. Therefore, you will be getting plus K and minus PE because potential energy decreases. As potential energy is decreasing, you are getting that potential energy as negative. As kinetic energy is increasing, you will be getting kinetic energy as positive, plus K minus PE. That's how total energy of the system will remain constant, but the form of energy may change. Kinetic energy may get converted to potential energy, or potential energy can get converted into kinetic energy. Here, potential energy is changing to kinetic energy. Suppose you are taking an object in your hand, you are being on the surface of the ground, and you are throwing it upward. When you throw it upward from the ground, it goes to certain height. Initially, your velocity is not equal to 0. The body possesses kinetic energy. Total energy is equal to only kinetic energy when you are throwing up. After going to certain height, velocity of the body tends to become 0. Therefore, total energy gets converted into potential energy, vice versa. So in this case, when body is coming down, kinetic energy is being increased, potential energy gets converted to kinetic energy. If the body is thrown upward, kinetic energy gets converted to potential energy, but the overall mechanical energy of the system will remain constant.